It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions.
Touchdown, San Diego!
Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Monday? We do, you do. From the Dixie-Line Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, coming off a great sports weekend, we welcome you to the Monday Bonus Podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host broadcasting his opinions from left field, John Riley, and we welcome you to Hacksaw's Headlines. Podcast brought to you by Dixie-Line Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they've got materials, you want ideas, they can help you. Hey, they can be your best friend. Build it, fix it, guarantee you will enjoy it via Dixie-Line. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things that they have to offer. John Riley, good afternoon. Wow, what a great weekend we had of football, the NFL, college football the day before. We got the general managers' baseball meetings just on the horizon. We got a ton of stories to talk about.
Yeah, we've got the Players Era Tournament in basketball, F1 racing in Vegas. Man, it doesn't stop.
So we invite you to stay with us for the next hour plus. But when we're done, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, when we're done putting topics on the table and expressing our opinions, you get the chance to join us. It's called Fans Forum. John, how does it work?
It works this way. So you have a question or comment in the world of sports, drop your take in the live chat on Facebook, on YouTube, on X. I see a lot of folks from Winnipeg already piling in. Great to see y'all. And so just drop your question or comment there. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
Fans Forum coming up right at the end of this podcast. Stay with us and get in line with questions, comments, and opinion. Program note, this is the only podcast we're doing this week. We're taking Thursday, Thanksgiving off for the holiday because of travel conflicts. We'll be back a week from today with the next podcast Monday at 1:30. John, let's get started. And a different leadoff topic today because it's basketball season.
Yeah, this is feast week, isn't it, Lee? And so the Aztecs are in this big tournament.
Yeah, let's talk about the San Diego State Aztec basketball team. The expectation in our community is unbelievable. It's off the charts. And now they play somebody real. Aztecs-Michigan in the Players Festival Tournament in Las Vegas tonight. San Diego State is 2-1. Michigan is 4-0. Michigan is highly, highly ranked, 7th in the nation. This is a non-conference death march that the Aztecs begin tonight because they play Michigan, then they play Oregon, then they'll play in the third game against a marquee-rated team, and still to come beyond that, they've got the University of Arizona. Aztecs have to regroup. They had a short window to try to fix everything that went wrong in their last loss. That double overtime setback to who? Troy State. Aztecs are going to face a team in Michigan that's averaging 89 a game. Michigan with all these transfers. Michigan with 5-star recruits. Michigan averaging 45 rebounds per game. And this is unheard of in college basketball, John. Michigan is shooting 50% from the floor.
Well, those bigs down low.
Bigs, for sure. Led by 6'9" transfer forward Yaxel Landsborg. He's averaging 15.7 rebounds per game. 7'3" UCLA transfer Ade Mara, averaging 11 and 10. Michigan's got all 5 starters in double figures. San Diego State is going to have to counter with their bigs, and that'll be Guath, though he may not start. That has to be Heidi, has to be Compton. What I need to see is them run the offense through Miles Bird. What I need to see is keep their bigs out of foul trouble. What I need to see is them be able, thank you, Reese Waters, to find their outside shot. What does the rotation look like? I bet fouls are going to play a little bit into this in the first half of the game. And Brian Dutcher called tonight's matchup against Michigan street fight. That's what it's going to be because their bigs are really good. And the Aztecs bigs are good at their level, the Mountain West Conference level, but they're stepping up tonight to play Michigan. What do you see? What do you think? Because the last time they played somebody big, They were trailing by 40 in the second half in that NCAA tournament game to North Carolina.
Don't bring that up again.
Well, I'm just dealing with reality
yeah,
here.
you are.
Okay, so where are the Aztecs in terms of the mix? Because I think it's not been decided. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that, I mean, they're a talented young team, and you know, the freshmen are good, the transfers are good. You're thinking about big man down low. There's Jeremiah Oden we can add to that mix. So the thing is, will they be able to rebound against these guys? I know they have Michigan as the one player 7'3" that used to be at UCLA. Mara. So, I mean, even Guath, I don't think is going to be able to go and out-rebound that guy head-to-head. So they're going to have to play their defensive strategy, I think, to keep those bigs out of the paint to the best of their ability. But I expect Reese Waters, Dixon is going to be, you know, he's doesn't have the flu. You know, he's healthy, hopefully. Hopefully his stroke is looking better. Hopefully Miles Bird, love the guy, but sometimes he falls in love with that gigantic outside shot. I saw some of the drills they were running in video in the arena when they were working out earlier today, and you saw Waters and you saw Bird kind of flashing to the elbow and taking shots from there. I mean, that sounds perfect, you know, rather than always trying to launch the three. So this could be a great opportunity for an upset, but this is going to prove their mettle for sure.
They're going to have to play better than they played against Troy State.
Oh, for sure.
But their defense is their calling card, and their defense has to come and prepared to bust up the rhythm of everything Michigan is doing, from entry passes to how they're going to defend the outside shooters, and Michigan's got a whole pile of them, in addition to Michigan having all these bigs. You're an Aztec basketball fan? Jump on board. Want to hear what you've got to say? San Diego State, Michigan tonight.
Question, though. Juwan Howard is out, right? So isn't the coach from Florida Atlantic now the head coach at Michigan?
Yes.
So this is going to be a little bit of a Final Four reunion for the Aztecs.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting storyline.
And that coach is a hell of a recruiter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's all things as we stand right now. San Diego State, Michigan. Only thing missing right now is you go to the Fans Forum box. Give us your opinion about Aztec basketball. John, we go from hoops in the college level to the other street corner. Let's talk NBA.
NBA. We'll kick it off with some LA teams.
Yeah, let's talk about the Lakers, the Clippers, and kind of walk down the board here. Lakers are off to a 12-4 start. Luka Doncic just is a different player now than he was a year ago. Obviously, the offseason weight training has allowed him to play a lot more minutes. He's averaging 32 points per game. LeBron is back. Austin Reeves is red hot. And a real interesting story, the Lakers have signed shooting forward Drew Timme. Remember him? Gonzaga star.
Yeah.
He played for the Brooklyn Nets. He played pretty well for the Brooklyn Nets after playing the last 2 years in the NBA G League, and then Brooklyn let him go. He averaged 12 points a game for Brooklyn, so the kid can stroke it, and the kid plays well amongst the bigs. He went to the G League, and he averaged 28 points per game. So the Lakers are looking for first guy off the bench who can shoot and score. So they're going to give Drew Timme a chance somewhere during the course of the season. He just signed over the weekend. Let's talk Clipper basketball. Their offseason deals have failed. I was really hopeful that all these rentals that they got at the last minute would come in and play alongside the two established stars, and it's not happened because Kawhi Leonard and Zubac are not getting a lot of help. James Harden is having to carry the whole thing. The Clippers are 5-12 and really playing poor. Harden scored 55 on Saturday night. Think about that. Anybody seen Brook Lopez, John Collins, Nick Batum, Bogdanovich? Those guys have been MIA. There have been no contributions whatsoever from any of those guys to take the workload off James Harden and the other two veterans. It's like the Clippers are playing as a three-man team right now, and they've lost Brad Beal for the year. Hip fracture surgery. They've asked the NBA for a salary cap exemption. This guy is always hurt. This guy turns out to be a bad acquisition. They have 5 established players on their roster who are not contributing anything to the Clippers. So we'll talk about that. Denver Nuggets, it's a really sad story. You might recall the name Rodney Rogers, first-round draft pick, big 6'9" power forward. played at Wake Forest, was a really good player in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Came into the league and played extensively and played really, really well as a rebounder, and he could score some. Rodney Rogers has passed away at the age of 51. He played 12 years in the NBA. Was an outstanding defensive player, rebounder, a multi-time All-Star player. He suffered a bad spinal cord injury once he retired off-roading. He was a paraplegic, lived his life in a wheelchair. He died from the spinal cord complications over the weekend. He set up foundations. He took all the money he made in the NBA and he poured it into foundations that do research for spinal cord injuries to kids.
Oh, nice.
Hell of a guy. Passed away, very sad story, over the weekend. Rodney Rogers, formerly of the Denver Nuggets, #1 pick, and at Wake Forest. Not a nice story is what's gone down in Memphis. This public feud between Ja Morant, his coaching staff, the media, the fans, and now it involves Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson ripped Ja Morant, tired of his act. Here's Morant sitting in civvies on the bench, barking at Klay Thompson about his team in San Antonio and all that. And finally, Klay Thompson just unraveled, started finger-pointing at Morant during an argument. They had to separate the two. What's Morant walking on the floor for during a timeout and barking at Klay Thompson? And then he bagged on him in the post-game press conference, saying, you're wasting your career, you're being a sideshow, you get paid to perform on the court in Memphis and produce, and you're not acting like that. Ooh, Klay Thompson rips Ja Morant. So, John, don't shoot an air ball. Your comments, Lakers, Clippers, the sadness in Denver, and all things bad in Memphis.
Well, do you see the highlight reel of what Luka did? And I think they were playing the Jazz, and he tipped the ball away and started a break, a fast break, and he bounced the ball through the legs of one of the Jazz bigs, then got the ball back, continued the dribble, and then lofted up an alley-oop. I mean, that was awesome. I mean, so good on the Lakers. They have a nice fast start. I mean, the Clippers, I think Steve Ballmer's getting ripped off here. I mean, all these old guys that aren't contributing. I mean, we kind of had some, glimmers of hope with the Clippers, thinking that maybe with these veterans, maybe take a little bit of the burden off of Kawhi, and maybe, just maybe, they might be sort of competitive. But
one last chance.
But now, the whole thing's gone to hell in a handbasket. I do remember Rodney Rogers. That's an interesting story you shared about him. But you said he passed, right? So, salute to Rodney. And then, Ja Morant's a problem. I mean, that's what Klay Thompson was saying, that, Morant's just wasting his talent. He should be on the floor showing up, everybody. But, Morant's got, I remember this little kid used to tell me, he goes, AM, PM, anger management problems, man. That's what Ja Morant has. I mean, so he's got to screw loose. He's got to get that fixed.
You're an NBA fan. Feel free. Shoot a three-pointer. Get here. The Fans Forum chat box is open. We go from that. Boy, we got a ton of stories to talk about a ton of big games this weekend in the National Football League.
Yeah, that Kansas City Colts game was pretty good.
All right, let's start. Save the season Sunday. That's a real good headline, and it happened. Here's Kansas City getting schooled by Indianapolis. Here's Kansas City at Arrowhead getting their ass kicked by Indianapolis, and they come back. They rally from a 20-9 deficit. Patrick Mahomes is just laser focused in attack mode.
Totally. He
throws for 352. They've not had a running game in years, and yet Kareem Hunt pounded it. They kept giving him the rock. Ran for 102. Rashee Rice, 8 receptions for 141. Kansas City piled up 494 yards to Indianapolis' 234. Kansas City had 33 first downs. The Colts had 10. Kansas City, and I've never seen this, ran off 91 snaps to Indianapolis' 50.
Whoa.
I wonder if the league is maybe caught up to Daniel Jones all of a sudden. Indy's not playing right now on the edge the way they did at the start of the season. And Kansas City now is sitting there at 6-5. We'll see if this is the real deal. Second game, Cowboys-Eagles. I looked at that and it was 21-0 Philadelphia before I could sit down. I said, how's that possible?
Yeah.
But they came back. They rallied from that 3-touchdown deficit. Dak Prescott throws for 354 and a couple of scores. George Pickens, Mr. Me, Myself, and I NFL version. He went off, had 9 catches for 146. Jalen Hurts threw for 258 in the loss, but Dallas came from behind to beat the Eagles in a must-win game. Because if you get your 6th loss this late into the season, you're probably dead meat. And Kansas City avoided getting lost 6, so did the Dallas Cowboys. Rams-Tampa Bay. That was like a laser light show. Matthew Stafford, more touchdown passes. 31-7 victory. Huge lead early. He threw for 273 in the first half. They ran the ball in the second half. Stafford has 30 touchdown passes now on the season and only 2 interceptions. And the defense just kept coming. 2 more sacks, 2 more takeaways, 3 more quarterback sacks. And Baker Mayfield, doing this all by himself, finally went down, caved in. A shoulder injury. They do not believe he's got a separation, does not have a fracture, but he played in a lot of pain in the fourth quarter of that game. The Rams are 9-2. And suddenly the rest of the world is now seeing what we've seen all season long, that this is a really complete, good football team. The other unique game, the Browns and the Raiders. Cavaliers. Shedeur Sanders for mayor? Nah, not yet. Cleveland Browns defense for mayor? Hell yes. Browns defense, 10 sacks of Geno Smith. Amazing. Shedeur Sanders threw for 209, a touchdown, a pick, a couple of sacks. He threw some really great floater passes to receivers that were running wide open. The Raiders, were they banned from playing their corners and safeties yesterday? I mean, you're talking about blown coverages, my God. There were Cleveland guys running all over, and Shedeur hit 2 big passes, and he had a 66-yard, shows up on the stat sheet as a 66-yard touchdown. It was a flare pass out in the flank to a running back who weaved his way down the field. End of the day, Shedeur, decent performance. He only completed 3 big passes. That's how he got to 209. But they've named him the starting quarterback now for the rest of the season.
Cool.
Did that today instead of bringing Dylan Gabriel back. For the Raiders, what a disaster. Geno Smith, he finished with 285, but they were throwing on every down. Raiders go to 2-9. Number 1 pick Ashton Jeanty had 25 touches yesterday, which is a ton for a running back. Threw more to him than they ran him. They could not run him at all. Jeanty caught a bunch of balls, but the Raiders are just an utter disaster on offense. So talk about the big games, because there were a lot of save-the-season games on Sunday.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just thrilled for Shedeur. I think this is fantastic. I mean, he's a man for the moment, right? I mean, when he gets in the game, the Browns fans, they come alive, electric, and you're talking, these little floater passes, but he was really good at that at Colorado. You just give a little flare out to what's the kid's name that plays for the Jaguars now, that won the Heisman Trophy?
Right, Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter, excuse me. Yeah, he'll get the ball and run down the field. I mean, he's got the same thing cooking with the Browns. And he made those long passes, and his dad, Dion, was there. Everything was great about it. So
that was cowboy hat.
Exactly. So hopefully, granted, it's good to get the Raiders as his first assignment, but hopefully he can build on this and turn into something special. I'm thrilled. And maybe he'll solve the whole quarterback dilemma with the Browns. The Rams look terrific. It's funny how you're talking about the Cowboys and the Eagles. Like, if they lose the 6th game, they're dead meat. Like, that's a great hacksaw line. You're right. It was, you blinked and it was 21-0. But, Dallas came back, and you got to give them credit for that. So good on those guys. And that Kansas City game, I was thinking the same thing early. I was like, hey, man, it looks like the Colts, maybe they've got the Chiefs number here early. It was like 20-9. And then all of a sudden, it just seemed like Patrick Mahomes sort of turned the switch on and said, okay, we're going to win this game, and I'm going to get it done. And boy, did they get it done.
Yeah, it was really impressive. So if you're an NFL fan, Fans Forum chat box is open. Save the season Sunday. That was on the field. Let's talk about stuff off the field, John.
Yeah, big news here, starting with the Raiders.
Last night at 11 o'clock, the Raiders fired Chip Kelly. Hours later, they fired the offensive consultant, Bob Bicknell. Raiders, get these metrics. The Raiders are in the NFL are 30th in offense, 32nd in scoring, 31st in rushing, 28th in red zone, and 29th in quarterback rating. That was under the guidance of Mr. X&O, Chip Kelly. And think about this. Kelly has now failed with the Eagles, the 49ers, the UCLA, and the Raiders. He's forgotten how to coach. Where did all the charisma and the greatness, the dynamics of Chip Kelly vis-a-vis when he was at Oregon, where did all that go? It's like the airport lost his luggage and his playbooks. My God, what a terrible storyline there. So we'll talk about that. Quite a storyline in San Francisco. The 49ers this summer, because of conflicts with that star wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk, have voided his 2026 contract that had $27 million in guarantees. It's being reported that Ayuk was just a repeated violator of a whole laundry list of team rules that San Francisco had, most notably rehab meetings with doctors coming off this reconstructive knee surgery, team meetings with the coaches, team meetings for playbooks, etc., things of that nature. He's become a recluse. He goes in, he does whatever rehab he wants at 6 o'clock in the morning, disappears the rest of the day. He's not in the building. He's not in the meetings with the wide receiver group. He's not standing on the sideline with support for the other players on the team. They're done with him.
Wow.
Now, they're going to take a cap hit if they try to release him after June 1st. I think they're going to try to trade him. But just think, a year ago today, they had two of the most dynamic wide receivers catching passes in San Francisco. Deebo Samuel, who's gone, and Brandon Ayuk, who's about to be gone. So it's quite a story there. Dallas. It has now been 2 weeks since the tragic suicide of Marshawn Kneeland. More information filtered out yesterday and last night from Dallas police. Kneeland was doing 145 miles an hour on a freeway when he crashed into another truck. His girlfriend was chasing him in another car, trying to make contact with him, but he would not pick up his cell phone. The player, before he got into that high-speed chase, had called Cowboys security director and said, goodbye. Security director inferred, this man's got mental health issues. Am I talking to somebody who's threatening suicide? Kneeland hung up on the security director. Security director called the NFL security. NFL security promptly called Dallas police, and they began the search to try to find out where Kneeland was. And they had no idea. They didn't know if Kneeland was in Dallas, was Kneeland home in Michigan, etc. They found his body in a porta potty. He had crashed his truck, run into the fields, hid in a porta potty, and killed himself. Now we find more information out of Kalamazoo that Western Michigan coaches had called police worried about Kneeland's mental health when he played there 2 years ago. They asked, is it safe for this player to have a gun with the way he was acting? Western Michigan coaches helped get him in for mental health evaluation, but he was released. And evidently the Cowboys and no other NFL teams knew about the mental health issues at Western Michigan. I mean, it's just a horribly tragic story. And it goes back to the bold statement I made 2 weeks ago. How could nobody see this? None of his teammates in Dallas who are in that locker room with him, in the team meetings all the time, and some of that group that probably hangs together away from the facility in their private time, nobody saw any of these mental problems. Terrible story there. Last one is Minnesota Vikings. Man, they got a problem. Kevin McCarthy's brilliant as a coach. He's got a problem at quarterback. It does not look like J.J. McCarthy can play at this level at this point. Now, McCarthy's been there 2 years with the playbook. McCarthy's got a howitzer for an arm. McCarthy's ability to read defenses and make decisions is really in question, and now he's gone. First it was the big knee injury. Now he's got a concussion. He's in protocol. He's got 11 turnovers this season, 2 fumbles, 19 sacks. I've watched him closely. He can zing it. Where the hell's he throwing it? I mean, he looks stark terrified back there, and his decision-making is highly questionable. Cannon for an arm, but boy, the rest of it doesn't fit. And this is the guy, because they've let all these other quarterbacks go. This is the guy they planted for the future when they signed this multi-year contract. And boy, he looks a long ways away. He was asked to do a lot at the University of Michigan, but not what an NFL quarterback has to do. He can't, at this point, he's not processing anything. I don't even know what the hell he's seeing back there, because I've watched him on TV. I said, why are you throwing a ball into that coverage? Bad situation. Kevin O'Connell's got his hands full there. Okay, John, start with the Raiders and work yourself right across that list.
You know, you and I have praised Chip Kelly over and over again, and wherever he seems to land on his feet, we're thinking, okay, it's going to be good things for UCLA, or it's going to be good things for, you know, whatever team he's with. When he went to the Raiders, with Pete Carroll went there, and they had Tom Brady and Geno Smith and Ashton Genty, and the whole thing blew up. So, I don't know. It's Chip Kelly. I think maybe we need to reassess who he is. You know, he's not the genius we think of. But, by the way, did you see the video clip that apparently when Geno Smith was walking off the field, he was getting booed, he flipped off the crowd?
They booed the fans at Allegiant Stadium. They booed them from the second quarter on. I mean, it was nonstop. He didn't flip them off. He gave them the single digit. It's just a bad situation. And the one constant there, Mark Davis.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So it's the mystique. You know, they need to fix with the mystique. The Niners and Ayuk, he's been a problem forever. I mean, he's making money, and he's not showing up to his meetings. I mean, that's like part of what's required to get paid. So if the Niners can eject him, fine. I mean, they still have, what's the other guy? Pearsall is the other receiver there. So they'll find a way to fill the gap. But the Cowboys story is really sad. I mean, but it's interesting learning more detail about it. To your point, how did people, I mean, people knew. People had to have known, but no one probably was willing to step up. But, you know, in a lot of ways, with mental health issues, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So there's some of that going on. Yeah. And it's sad. The Vikings story is interesting because I remember when J.J. McCarthy was at Michigan, we kind of thought, probably like a second or third round pick. And then suddenly he rocketed up to the first round. And you're thinking because of all the, you know, the OTAs or what are those things they have to in Indianapolis?
The combines.
The combines, pardon me.
His physical attributes, John, are really impressive.
Yeah, so everyone started falling in love with him. And then they let, Sam Darnold go and I think Daniel Jones. And they probably would have liked to have Jones there, wasn't he?
Kirk Cousins was the first one out the door. Yeah. Darnold was the one-year rental. Daniel Jones might have been the future, but then he opted out with a chance to go be the starter. And J.J. McCarthy was there in waiting. But, boy, he doesn't look like he can handle it.
No. I was watching one of the pregame shows on the NFL Network, and the analyst was looking at the mechanics of J.J. McCarthy and was saying that his stance is too wide. It gets outside of the width of his shoulders. And they even had an interview with Kevin O'Connell, and he was talking about that as well. And so that affects his accuracy. So he's got the gift, he's got the talent, the body. He just needs to make some adjustments. I'm rooting for the kid. He seems like a great kid, but who are the Vikings going to turn to if not him?
I concur with you. They got a real problem. So that's what's in our NFL notebook. You got comments? Feel free. Jump on board because we do sports talk here the way it should be done. We put topics on the table, we express opinions, and then we invite you to join us in Fans Forum. We are at halftime. This podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. Dixiline's known for a lot of things. John wants me to tell you that when it comes time to change windows and change doors in your house, you should talk to them. I did, and I'm really satisfied. And I'll tell you why I did. At first, I had a house in which the original doors and windows were there. But the most important thing, house wasn't warm in the winter, couldn't keep the heat out in the summer. And, John, we changed that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they're a great partner to go there for replacement doors and windows. Whether you're going for these big doors, you know, can bring the outside in and the inside out.
That's
for
called
a big
style.
Yeah, those are gorgeous. Those kinds of they fold like accordions. They slide into the walls. Or maybe you just need, it's just some simple replacement windows for bedroom, bathroom. You want something that's sturdy and cheap, and not cheap, but inexpensive, and something that will be installed by pros to get it done right. The folks at Dixieline are great for that. So, and by the way, it's holiday season is here. They got the stocking stuffers, the Dixieline gift cards. That's a great thing to get mom or dad.
Dixieline. Build it, fix it, guarantee you will enjoy it. Doors and windows included. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things that they have to offer. We are at halftime. When we're done putting topics on the table, you get the chance to participate. John, we got so many new people that are sampling our podcast, the live stream. How do they join Fans Forum?
Well, a lot of guys have already figured it out. We can see them here in the list on the computer. So, I see John and Casey and Callan. I see Richard. What is this? There's another new name there. Is Amro Kade, I think, if I'm reading that correctly. So we got a lot of new people in there, plus our old friends, but just pile in. If you have a question or comment for Hacksaw, type it in the live chat on YouTube, X, or Facebook.
And a couple of reminders. We're on today. We're going to be off on Thursday and Friday because of travel issues. We won't have a show at the end of the week, but we will be back here Monday at 1:30. So we hope you have a great Thanksgiving. For the first time, we're taking a bit of a Thanksgiving break back here on Monday. Hey, just a couple of other items. You can really help make this thing grow, and this podcast has exploded. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the follow button. Want you to subscribe. You can give us a 5-star rating, which really helps us a great deal. You like sports? Check my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. I write on it every day. It's absolutely free. It's the first thing there in the morning that you can check. You get the best 15 minutes in sports. You get my one man's opinion column. Also, want you to join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. You'll get on our special email list. We send out 2 emails a day. Nobody else has access to the kind of info that we're making available to you. Register for the Insiders Group on the homepage right on my website. You're on social media. Join my Twitter All-Star team on X. Just type in Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Hit the follow button. Want you to share. Tell everybody in your address book what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe, you will get the alerts, ding, 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 when we put additional videos. Does it ding when you get the alerts? What the hell is it? Is it a bell? What is it? Anyhow, You'll get the alerts. We put new stuff up on the YouTube channel. Quit laughing at me.
No, you get an alert on your phone when we drop a new video. It's all good,
Okay, so lots of ways for you to follow us in addition to the Mondays and Thursdays podcast, and we thank you for being part of our team. And again, when we're done, Fans Forum for you. Okay, John, let's move to the second half of this show.
Okay, we talked pro football. Now let's get into college football. Bruins, Aztecs, and money.
All right, let's talk first of all about financial storylines that are out there. San Diego State, final regular season home game, papered the house. Yeah, how many showed up for that final home game? 15,000. Just terrible. It has just been a struggle, and they're giving away volumes of tickets, and with free tickets in the hand, people aren't coming. And the bigger story behind the curtain has now surfaced. I kept hearing stuff about this. They got big financial problems in the athletic department. San Diego State is $11 million in debt in the athletic department, and the operations of Snapdragon Stadium, $25 million of debt on the books at SDSU. It's a big issue. San Diego State has proposed to the university a hike of student fees, increase it 45%, with virtually all that money going back into Aztec athletics. Now, the reality is that the dollar value would go from $580 per year, which a student pays. If San Diego State gets the approval, it would go to $840. $840 sounds like a lot of money, but they've not had an increase in student fees for this fund since 2009. So I hope they get it, because I think they really desperately need it. Shocker, at UCLA. It just gets worse and worse and worse. We're talking about UCLA football, terrible season. All-time low in modern-day attendance in UCLA. They've been in the Rose Bowl since 1982. The firing of the coach. Obviously, the whole crisis as it relates to the Rose Bowl lease that they're trying to get out of. Now, the Rose Bowl and the city of Pasadena are suing UCLA football. It was a survey amongst UCLA football alumni that was released over the weekend. Players' responses to leaving the Rose Bowl. Among the quotes, players have said, if UCLA leaves this stadium, we're losing our identity. You lose your identity, what do you have to hang your hat on? You made a bad deal? Go back to the city of Pasadena and sit down and try to renegotiate the deal. Another name player, UCLA's football problems are bigger than just the Rose Bowl issue. Other players said, SoFi makes sense. Program needs a dose of fresh air. Need to start all over in every direction possible. So they've got just monstrous money problems, football leadership problems, one-loss problems, and heritage and legacy problems at UCLA. I would have never thought we'd ever be talking about UCLA in such a negative tone. So, John, talk about Aztec dollars and UCLA Bruins' big issues.
Yeah, let's talk about the money. It always comes down to the money, doesn't it, Lee?
Yep.
So you figure the Aztecs have probably got this huge capital investment to build the stadium, which I'm assuming is funded through bonds, and they've got a whole financial package to pay for that.
The state
system
is paying for it. San Diego State pays a chunk of it.
Okay. But there's an operating budget to run the stadium, to pay for the staff, the concessionaires, and put the security out there and everything else. But they're underwater on that, too. So, again, I just feel bad for Wicker and all the people that made the big decision to build that stadium, because back then, with the haves and have-nots and the NIL transfer portal stuff wasn't anywhere near where it is now. My hunch is that students are probably not as interested in it because they know it's sort of JV level. But, this is our local team. I mean, we need to get out there and support them. So the whole thing's just really sad. And it's kind of tough, though, charging students that maybe they're not there to go to San Diego State for sports, but should they have to pay more? I mean, that's a tough sell. Would that vote be of the students? I'm assuming so.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's going to be a tough ask.
What about the UCLA mess?
I remember back in the late 80s, I was living up in L.A., and the students then, I would ask them, how do you get to the games? They go, they bus us and everything. But from Westwood to Pasadena, that's not a simple drive. Mm-hmm. And if you want to pack that with students, it makes sense if it's just right down the 405. So I see why UCLA would want to go there. The Rose Bowl is historic, but it's not all shiny and new like SoFi. So I can see why they'd want to move there. But, a contract's a contract. So UCLA's got more important issues, in my opinion. Let's get the right AD, the right coaching staff. Let's turn this program around, and we can worry about the facility as priority number 2. But I think they're going to have to go back and try to renegotiate.
Okay, here's the sidebar thing. The last question at today's Monday Sean Lewis press conference had to do with fan support, lack of attendance, alumni. And by the way, that question was asked by...
Good for you.
And he gave a really strong, responsive answer. I asked, what is your gut reaction to your team being 10-2 and nobody coming to see your games? Because there have been more 15 and 17,000 turnouts than there have been 32 people in the building. And I also compared it, I said, because this town, all these alums have supported this program in the past in football. And Sean knows that I did Aztec football for a chunk of time during the Falk era when they were drawing 48,000 fans a game in the old Western Athletic Conference. 48,000. for the games against BYU and UCLA and USC, and Falk was rewriting the record book. And he also knows the history of this city supporting football and the fact that I'd done the Chargers and how they draw 65,000 fans per game. I said, what's your message to the, quote, Aztecs for life? All these people who live here, supposed to be big fans of San Diego State, who aren't showing up. What do you tell them? And he just said succinctly, we have done our job. We win this weekend, we're 10-2. We have done our job. I know this is a football crazed community based on what has happened at San Diego State, based on what it used to be with the NFL. We have done our job. What he didn't say is what I will say as a follow-up. Aztec fans, why don't you do your job? Fans, friend, and alum. And I'll ask the people out there that watch this podcast who might agree with me or may totally dislike me. You tell me why Aztecs for Life don't support the program. They've raised money to keep the players here. Their burgeoning checkbook now has a $1 million secret donor who will match money. If they can get to $1 million, he will match that $1 million, which is critically important to keep funding the NIL so the Aztecs can stay competitive and keep their players. But you tell me, they're an Aztec for life, supposedly. You tell me why fans don't come to games now. You're 10-2, and there's 15,000 fans after they give away all these tickets that only show up. Got a response?
I'm glad you asked that question. It's a fair question to ask. But it's sad that the question needs to be asked.
At this point, with a 10-2 team.
Yeah, well, they're not 10-2 yet. Well, they could be 10-2 if they beat New Mexico. But Sean Lewis is right. He's doing his job. He just needs to win games, baby. And, you know, the whole support system at San Diego State and the marketing and the student section and, you know, all of that is outside of his scope, even though he might be the face of it. So it's tough. And I would imagine Sean Lewis privately probably feels a little discouraged, you know, and there have been rumors of maybe Sean Lewis is going to be the next UCLA coach. And I mean, it makes you wonder if he would feel like he's not being appreciated here in San Diego.
Okay, I'm challenging San Diego State people who watch this podcast or just football fans in general. Why are you not supporting the only team that's left in town that plays football? Feel free, jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. All right, John, let's talk about the weekend. Oh, man. Saturday was almost as good as NFL Sunday. Saturday was damn good.
Yeah, you were really looking forward to this Oregon-USC game.
Oh, Oregon Ducks, USC. I think the big storyline is Oregon is 53-5 at home. What an unbelievable place to play. Dante Moore, the kid quarterback, throws for 257 and 3 touchdowns. They got heavy-duty running backs. Noah Whittingham ran for 104. They beat him with explosive, creative, exotic formations that USC just could not cover. Had an 85-yard touchdown punt return, the Ducks did. Jaden Mayava threw for 306, 3 touchdowns, couple of interceptions. He kept throwing into double coverage because he had a lot of pressure on him. I don't understand Lincoln Riley. Bizarre play calls down on the goal line again. This keeps happening. You're running reverses with your wide receiver, taking the ball off the line of scrimmage rather than trying to play power ball and just punch it in. He was down there on a goal line standing, didn't get it in, running crazy stuff. And the worst thing is to get on the plane to come home. They missed the playoffs for the 4th year in a row at USC. USC under Lincoln Riley is 0-5 now against top 10 teams. They're not a power broker in the Big Ten Conference, and they don't play on the road very well in Big Ten Conference games. So it was unbelievable, the excitement, the enthusiasm, the culture of Oregon football, and it's unbelievably disappointing that USC is just another team that's not in the playoffs. And all the world's in the playoffs now because it's a 12-team party. Aztecs, they're 9-2. Living off their defense, living off their run game. They slogged their way to another win against San Jose State. They can win it all. They play Friday at 12:30 in the afternoon at New Mexico.
Wow.
Credit the defense. Interceptions, sacks, tackles for losses, third down stops. They are ranked in 6 different categories inside the top 10 in NCAA stats in the nation on defense. I mean, it's just – I asked Sean Lewis, I said, pick an adjective or pick an adverb, Sean. Again, put my hand up. Give me an adjective or an adverb to describe who your defense is. He thought about it. He might have thought about it 20 seconds. I said, I want one word that describes it.
He doesn't talk in one word.
No. And the word was elite.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Damn right. And then he proceeded to give me a 4-minute answer. Why? Now, I will say this, and people are not going to necessarily agree. They've gotten about every freaking break in the book they could get this year in what could be a 10-2 season. I mean, San Jose's quarterback went down. That kid had thrown for 3,000 yards this season, went down with a knee injury early. Boise had lost their starting quarterback. They played a backup against San Diego State. Fresno went with a kid that was playing his first start ever in the Mountain West Conference against this defense. You know, they played the first half of the schedule against a lot of weak-ass teams, and when they got to play the big boys didn't have their quarterbacks. So they're going to go play New Mexico, which has played really, really well. They got their coach, came in from Idaho State's done a hell of a job. Transfer portal, he brought his whole Idaho State team with him, which has made New Mexico pretty competitive. So, Aztecs, they could be 10-2. There is not a person on the face of the earth outside of Sean Lewis and maybe his lovely wife that would have ever thought these dudes would be 10-2 this season.
It's great.
It is. I concur with you. We'll talk about UCLA. They get whacked by Washington, got killed up in Seattle. Bruins are now 3-8. What a nightmare. Not enough players. Quarterback is hurt. Quarterback has already announced he's leaving after the season. They got the debt, the lousy crowds, the Rose Bowl lawsuit, the alumni petition by former UCLA football players to remove the athletic director, and the coaching hiring failures. What a mess UCLA is. Just talk about a couple other storylines here. Let's talk about the situation. North Carolina, 4-7. They got snuffed again. Not a good situation at North Carolina. And then off the field, I knew she could not stay quiet all year. Jordan Hudson goes public and just reams people. She's going to file a defamation lawsuit against Pablo Torre, the guy, the investigative reporter, for defamation of character, because he's about to report on their, quote, coach hot pants relationship. She's become just a freaking distraction.
It's a circus.
No, the real circus is what happened on Friday. Steve Belichick, the defensive coordinator, Bill's son, Steve Belichick's wife, went public.
Oh, I heard this.
In Chapel Hill.
This is good.
I wrote all about it. She put out, she called Jordan Hudson a control freak, bat crazy, says she's twisted Bill's brain. She's a distraction all day, every day. And it's time for Coach Belichick, for Bill Belichick to choose between family and her. Yikes. That's quite a story. Colorado, they are now 3-8. And Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, says we need more time. For the first time, he admitted they're wrong. He says, we don't have the right roster to make this work. That's on us as coaches. For the first time, he's kind of admitted maybe he's made a lot of mistakes in the transfer portal. They can't compete. They can't run the football. They can't protect the quarterback. They can't play defense, especially defensively up front. This is a disaster. Juju Lewis, the freshman quarterback, I thought played pretty competitively in his start, but they really have no help around him. A couple other quickies. Cal Golden Bears, this really stunned me last night, fired Justin Wilcox, the head coach. They've named Nick Rolovich, former head coach at Hawaii and the head coach at Washington State, to come in to be the interim coach. He'll probably wind up with a job. This was all triggered by Ron Rivera, who's their general manager, making that change at Cal. And at Oregon State, A weird story out of Corvallis. I don't know how to connect the dots to this, but there are reports at this hour that Oregon State has talked to Rick Neuheisel about coming out of retirement, taking over the program, and bringing the kid, the offensive coordinator from UCLA, Jerry Neuheisel, with him. That's one name that's out there. Another name that's out there is Paul Christ, former Beaver assistant, coached at Pitt, coached at Wisconsin, had some moderate success. We think Oregon State's going to name a coach maybe by Thanksgiving or right on the weekend. So that's where we are in the coaching carousel on the coaching front in college football. John, your response.
Bill Belichick, man. Hey, he's getting some, But I saw a video clip that, Jordan Hudson apparently competes in these adult-level cheerleading events.
And he was there.
You see him in like a folding chair in the back corner, and you're just like, oh, man. So the whole thing is just wild. It's a great story. It is. It's a funny story. And I'm rooting for Coach Prime. I think he probably fell in love with getting too many guys that were skill position guys, didn't have the big man up on the line on both sides of the ball.
But when you keep changing every year in the portal and you still don't come up with the right guys, and everybody's buying into his sales pitch, obviously you included, and it's not worked. I mean, he's got a roster that can't compete, and we're now 3 years into the mission.
Yeah, and he's got good coaching there too to coach him up. And if you don't got the talent, there's not much you can do. So hopefully he'll figure it out. And so maybe he's a little distracted right now because he was watching his son play in Vegas. You're saying San Diego State getting all the breaks. I don't know. They lost their two top receivers. I mean, they're out for the year. So I don't know if they've gotten that many breaks. But I'll tell you what, that Chris Johnson kid, do you see that interception he made in that game?
He's a great player.
He is hella good. So, I mean, they're saying first, second round. I mean, wouldn't that be unexpected? We knew he was good, but he's really kind of moving up the charts, don't you think, Lee?
Very much so. Very impressive. And what did you think of Oregon versus USC?
Yeah, I mean, that was a game that just seemed like SC could just never quite get into it. They were clearly overmatched. And you're right, Lincoln Riley's just kind of making some kind of crazy calls there. Who is that slot receiver that they have for SC? He's really good.
Mekhi Lemon.
That's him, yeah. And so that's the guy I think they're trying to get creative with those jet sweeps and things. But, USC used to always be a power, running back, student body left kind of a thing. I mean, you got to, when you're at the goal line, especially when you're in Autzen Stadium, you can't try to get cute. I mean, you got to just bulldoze in.
Yeah, the calls have been weird, and they've happened on a consistent basis. Why you're running this at that point in the game at that field position? So somebody's out there's a college football fan. We're throwing a lot of information out your way there. Join us in the Fans Forum chat box. John, we go from all things football. We got baseball to talk about because things are starting to happen.
Yeah, the baseball season never quits. Here we go.
Okay, let's just start about the deals because they're about to begin. They have begun. The Padres, sources tell me the Padres are shopping at Lane 1 at Dollar General. A.J. Preller is intrigued by Texas Ranger outfielder Adolis Garcia, who was a surprise non-tender at the end of last week. Now, this guy hits for power. This guy has had a good year or two, batting average-wise, but his career numbers are strange. 237, but he's bopped 141 home runs. You can probably get him at an affordable price. Ding, 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 ding. Padres, aisle 1, Dollar General. Second one, looking for pitching. Padres are intrigued by Cody Ponce, 17-1, pitching in Korea. Now, he's a Mexican, had no success here, didn't have great velocity and control problems, went there, reinvented himself, and he went 17-1, which is an all-time record. And his velocity is up to 97 miles an hour. Ding, 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 ding. He's available aisle 2 at Dollar General. So maybe you get him. Now, where are the other guys going? Report this morning, Michael King, Padres, visiting Miami. The Marlins are stockpiling a lot of young pitching. They're looking for a front end of the rotation veteran to go with the other pitchers. Marlins have developed a decent young batting order, but they're looking for a veteran pitcher. Michael King might get the price he wants to pitch for the Miami Marlins. Robert Suarez does not look like the Mets are going to keep Diaz. They're refusing to give him a 5-year mega guaranteed deal. They're talking to Suarez. As we do this podcast today, Suarez might be the first reliever that signs a deal, and they're with the Mets. And Dylan Cease kind of looks like he's going to Houston, because evidently Houston's willing to go 5 years for Dylan Cease. I would never give Dylan Cease a 5-year deal, but I'd give him a 3-year contract, but looks like he might wind up there. So that's the latest with them. Dodgers, non-tender Evan Phillips. Give up on him because of the elbow surgery. Saves them $6 million they could put in their budget and spend elsewhere. He's going to be out at least the first third of this coming season. Dodgers have pitchers. Get total medical clearance at Gavin Stone and River Ryan, 2 of their younger starters, cleared by doctors, all throwing in the offseason, will be ready for spring training. Angels, I don't understand this rationale. There's got to be an explanation, but Perry Manassian won't talk about it. When they made the trade with the Orioles to get Grayson Rodriguez, they did not bring him in for a physical. How would you do that? Why would you do that, considering he had major bone spur surgery for a problem that he's had for 3 years, and he missed a chunk of the season with a lat strain? Why would you trade a power hitter, Taylor Ward, without medical information on Grayson Reynolds? It makes no sense to me at all, and they've not answered the question. The other thing that just surfaced out of New York, Angels are talking to Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger, represented by Scott Boras. Everywhere he's gone, it's been for a big payday. Is Artie Moreno going to open up the checkbook and make a pitch at Cody Bellinger? Because he's a glove, and he's got power, and he does hit for average, and he's had some good seasons in the majors. And I think he's intrigued about possibly coming back to the West Coast. And the Angels filled out the rest of the coaching staff of the new manager, Suzuki. They hired Brady Anderson, Poway guy, ex-Oriole slugger, as hitting coach. And they're also bringing in John Mabry as their outfield coach. So the Angels have been kind of active. But this Grayson Rodriguez story, to me, makes no sense at all. Briefly, New York Mets. They trade, this first big deal of the offseason, they trade power hitting outfielder Brandon Nimmo. He goes to Texas for Gold Glove second baseman Marcus Semien. That's kind of a different deal. Nimmo is a pretty good player, 25 home runs last year. He'll hit more probably in Texas. Semien, great glove. Didn't have a good offensive season last year, but he's got some power. So that's going to free them to move Jeff McNeil off second base and let McNeil go back to the outfield where he plays really, really well. And guess who the Mets did a Zoom with over the weekend? Tatsuya Imai, Japanese left-hander.
Wow.
So the Mets are in the bidding for the top pitcher from Japan. And, of course, the Mets have talked extensively and maybe talking at this hour to Robert Suarez. And here's the weirdest story. Don't know why he would say this. He has every right to feel this. But why would Brian Cashman make this comment? Brian Cashman, over the weekend, publicly tells the beat writers that were talking to him, the Dodgers have a private pipeline to Japan. He says, the Dodgers flash their World Series rings. We know they have deep pockets. We know they have a historical brand name. They're favored because of West Coast geography. They can get those guys Pacific Rim endorsements. Their business models, a.k.a. deferrals, has been accepted by ownership. And the agents are delivering Japanese players to the Dodgers because the Dodgers now have a pipeline in Japan. Did he say what he say was correct? And why would you ever say that publicly? It's like the Yankees have no chance. That's weird. Okay, John, go ahead. Step up to the plate. Hit a home run here.
Dodgers. Even Brian Cashman knows what we're talking about. You know, the Dodgers do everything right, you know, and it's like, damn it. So anyways, the Grayson Rodriguez thing, my understanding is that when you're a free agent, then a medical, physical is a common thing. But when you're traded, it isn't. And when you're traded, they got to swap, the medical records. Remember when Pomeranz got traded to the Red Sox and Preller was accused of doctoring the doctor reports.
And getting suspended.
Yeah. So I think that's why Grayson Rodriguez didn't have a physical. But you think that they would have demanded it, or maybe it's something in the union collective bargaining agreement that prevents it. I mean, do you know anything about that?
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre.
That's damaged goods.
Well, we don't know yet. When he shows up at spring training, we're going to find out. Right? I mean, but anyways, it's just Angels. They're like the opposite of the Dodgers. They can't do anything right.
And your thoughts on the Padres shopping at Dollar General?
Well, that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to get creative. But we heard the story about Kyle Hurt last year. That he went to Korea and reinvented himself. He was the Cy Young of Korea.
He came in here throwing home run balls.
Yeah, he was, he's just an arm, I mean, he can get you some innings, but he wasn't going to be a top of the rotation kind of guy, although I don't think we really expected it.
But they went to Japan, and here came Robert Suarez, and look what he turned into.
Yeah, and I think everyone's really now, the scouting departments are much more aware of what's happening in Asia. Because for the longest time, we figured, that it was AAA or AA equivalent out there, but it's not. So, the Preller is going to have limitations. The team is up for sale. They say business as usual, but, all the money is for, Machado is increasing. Everyone else's contracts are going up. They have the dudes on arbitration. So there's not going to be much cash to go around. So Preller has to get lucky on a guy like he did when he got Profar for $1 million for that 1 year and he had a good run. Adolis Garcia might be an interesting pickup. He was red hot that year the Rangers won the World Series.
Yeah. Didn't he win the MVP?
Yeah. I mean, he was hella good. And so he's a big boy, and he's a slugger, and the Padres need some slug.
Yeah, you put slug around everything that's in a batting order. It kind of makes the batting order a little bit more different.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's all things baseball. I know there's baseball fans out there because we do a baseball-driven, centric podcast. Jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. Couple of other notes. Canada Network. Listen up. Let's talk hockey.
Hockey Hotline. Start with the Jets.
Winnipeg Jets. I felt really bad. This guy's a really good player. This guy might be a Vezina Award-winning goaltender. This guy's a linchpin in the community. Winnipeg Jets lose Connor Hellebuck for 6 weeks. They're not talking about the injury, but when you tackle 6 weeks around a knee injury, that's probably a meniscus tear. That's a tough setback because he's good. Montreal, they were so hot out of the gate. They've lost 7 of their last 8 games. Their goaltending problems are monstrous. Samuel Montembeault and Jacob Dobes, 2 pretty good young goaltenders. Young is the key word. Get this. Their save percentage, the 2 goalies in Montreal, is a combined .842. If you're under 900, anything below 900 is not good. .842 is just abysmal. And Montreal, wrecked by injuries, have had 4 players have had surgeries in the last 2 weeks. The Canadiens are just kind of staggering. And enters the Boston Bruins. It's a real bad weekend. One of the defensemen, Charlie McAvoy, got hit with a deflection in front of the net, right in the face. Terrible damage to his mouth, facial fractures. Just had emergency surgery. He's going to be gone at least 3 months. And these are guys who wear helmets and shields, and yet puck comes up and hit him at a bad angle. I saw it. I looked at it one time. I could not look at it again. But anyhow, Hockey Hotline, injuries more than anything else, a big story right now.
Yeah, I mean, you see those guys, they get losing teeth and stuff. I mean, there's a lot going on. I'm surprised they don't have more protective covering. I mean, you ever heard of like a Jofa? It's like a plastic thing that goes over the mouth area.
Well, some guys wear that. It's not mandatory, but some guys wear it. The other thing is throat guards. You get hit in the throat with a deflected shot or a high stick, accidents, that stuff happens all the time. I mean, you could have severe damage to your larynx, your vocal cords, an artery, etc.
Yeah.
Now they've put into effect in the American Hockey League and in the East Coast Hockey League and in all of the Canadian junior leagues, throat guards. You wear, it looks like a turtleneck sweater, but it's got a big protection here.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that in the NHL, but the players You got to bend players' arms to do anything different that is not what they've experienced growing up. I mean, when they first put helmets into place, players didn't want to wear helmets.
Well, they're tough guys, right, man?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't need that, you know? So it's tough, man, to see that. And by the way, that 842, I mean, even I knew that. And I'm not a big hockey guy. I know that's not very good. I mean, I'm always amazed that they can score at all. I mean, when the goalie's got those big leg pads and the glove, and they're usually big men, and they're blocking that little net. I mean, I'm shocked that, you know, that the average shooting percent or the average block percentage isn't like over 95%.
Yeah, and 842 is just a ghastly bad number. Now, both their goaltenders are young, and Montembeault played pretty well last season. But when you compare the history, I mean, Montreal's had such legendary goaltenders. I mean, starting way back in the day, I'd know about it. I forgive you for not knowing about it. But, you know, back in the day, it was Jacques Plante and Kenny Dryden, the late Ken Dryden, who we just talked about. And more recently, Corey Price, who just had to retire because of an arthritic knee condition. Montreal has a lineage of greatness in goal. And to have your two kid goaltenders with an 842 save percentage, wow. Not good.
Not good.
Okay, so we go from that. Last topic on the table. Oh, we're going to talk soccer. We're going to talk auto racing.
Yeah, San Diego FC, big game today.
Win and go on, lose and go home. Tonight, soccer. San Diego FC, Minnesota United. This is monstrously big. Semifinal MLS Western Conference. The winner gets to play the Vancouver Whitecaps. If SDFC wins tonight, what's the nickname of San Diego? What's the pronunciation for the color blue?
Azul.
I'm sorry, Azul and Chrome. Mm-hmm. If SDFC wins tonight, Azul and Chrome would host the Vancouver Whitecaps here in the Western Finals. And the winner of that goes there to play in the championship. And who's there? Lionel Messi and Inter Miami. Oh, this is so exciting. The big questions, it's a home game because obviously SDFC has now won 21 games this season. That's why they get home field advantage. The big question, how many minutes are they going to be able to get out of Chucky Lozano, Dreyer, and Pellegrino? Lozano's got a hamstring. Dreyer was fighting through a virus. Pellegrino is 35 years of age, does not play full games. But it's right there in front of them. They've earned this chance to play on this pitch at Snapdragon Stadium. That is tonight, SDFC. Winner goes on to play Vancouver, and the winner of that will play in a championship likely against Lionel Messi and Inter Miami. Auto racing, Las Vegas Grand Prix. Max Verstappen is on a tear. Goes from grabbing the lead on the first lap to a 21-second advantage and a win in the rain. The track conditions were really wretched. He ran away from everybody. That's one storyline. The second storyline is what happened after the race. Post-race inspection, they found that Lando Norris's car and Oscar Piastri's car were illegal. They tore them down after the race. 5 hours after the post-race inspection, they DQ'd both of them.
Wow.
It changes the whole point standings with 2 races to go in F1. The cars failed a post-race inspection because of illegal measurements of planks under the car. There are planks under the car that protect the tub of the car. As the downforce pushes the car down in certain parts of the track, the planks rub and the planks wear. Well, they found the planks, by just millimeters, were beneath the total they needed to be for the cars to be eligible.
Millimeters?
Yeah, millimeters. It's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
The teams filed a grievance. F1 says no. Team said these cars were illegal when the race started. The planks were illegal, so it was a wear and tear factor. The planks were under the legal limit in the post-race inspection. And if we didn't have enough of that, then we have the whole mess with Ferrari. Another incident in the garage after they finished really badly. Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton just lost their mind talking to the media again, saying this team is an utter failure. One guy qualified 9th. Sir Lewis qualified 20th. Couldn't run in the rain. Bad tire compounds. Lousy pit stop. Just F1 is such drama. My God. End of the day, Captain Cutthroat Max Verstappen has cut Lando Norris's lead in Formula One down to 24 points with 2 races to go. And he's got a chance of winning another championship, and he was dead and gone at midseason. Piastri has not won a race since midseason, in fact, not finishing races. And we got this F1 controversy. Looking for a Formula One. Are there any auto fans out there? Or am I the old lone guy standing on a street corner by himself, lonesome cowboy that pays attention to F1? These stories, I love soap operas. This drama, John, is great. So go ahead, corner kick me and tell me about FUFIA and what they did.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's a huge opportunity here for San Diego sports, isn't it? I mean, this is a chance that San Diego has of winning a national championship in something, and so this is exciting. I'll bet you they're going to sell out Snapdragon.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of goes to show you how, the buzz in the community compared to what's happening with Aztecs. This is a sports town. It's fully capable of selling out that facility. And so San Diego FC is going to prove it tonight. So that's the model that, Sean Lewis has got to figure out. But it's good to hear that, that Chucky and Dreyer and Pellegrino are all going to be there, healthy, ready to go. So, apparently this is like a clash of styles, the way these teams play, both great head coaches. So I'm going to be like wearing out my remote control because I'll be watching Aztec basketball at the same time tonight.
Call split screen, dude.
Yeah, there you go. Split screen. And then, to the other point with F1, I mean, I give you props. See that I don't know anyone that covers auto racing, back in talk radio or much on podcasting, but you do it and you do it consistently. And that's what I loved. Many things I loved about you back in the 90s when I was listening to you on Extra 690 is that you were consistent because you would talk about NASCAR and IndyCar and maybe not as much F1 back then as you do now. But, good on you for keeping it going. It was great they had a race in Vegas, by the way.
Okay. It's time for you to take over the rest of this podcast, Fans Forum. This podcast is brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. Just go to Dixieline.com, see all the things that they have to offer. John, I am ready. Just a program note, again, for everybody. We're going to be off for the Thanksgiving holiday because of travel issues. We'll be back Monday. Next podcast, Monday at 1:30. John, we got a ton of things here that fans want to respond to. Fire away.
Yeah, I know you still want to go on Thanksgiving, but you have a football agenda you got to be watching.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's kick this off with our friend Richard. Richard, thank you for the donation. Hey, sad reality for San Diego State. Even if they run the table, they will never get a playoff bid. We'll get an invite to a mid-level BS bowl game. A 9-3 SEC team is more valued. It's all about TV ratings.
Well, understand this, though. Right now, the Mountain West team, and they're not going to be rated, whoever wins the Mountain West Conference championship game, they're not going to be in the upper echelon, so therefore they're not going to be rated. But because the top group of 5 team, and that might be Tulane right now, or it might be James Madison of strength of schedule, they're maybe the only 2 that would be eligible to get the one group of 5. But next year, Aztecs go Pac-12. Aztecs football is better than probably everything else that's in the Pac-12 right now. Next year, the Pac-12 gets a guarantee in the college football playoffs. So San Diego State can propel this. If they go 10-2 and then win the Mountain West to be 11-2, that's their calling card going into the Pac-12, which means they're probably a better Pac-12 team than anybody. So at this point, yes, they are small potatoes. But you haven't given me an examination explanation as to why nobody goes to the games, because we experienced that in the Marshall Falk era when I broadcast the games. They drew 48,000 fans a game. It was absolutely amazing. And there's some 50,000 crowds. None of that's possible at Snapdragon because people aren't showing up. I don't understand why, aside from prices. Or maybe it's the mental issue of small potatoes. We're not big time. John, go ahead and respond.
The Tulane coach was saying that we're not very good. in one of his press conferences, even though they're in a position to maybe get into the playoff. And I know some people online were using that as an excuse to say, well, we shouldn't have a 12-team playoff. We really should only have 8 or 4. I'm like, no, man, open it up. I like seeing, these smaller teams get a shot, especially if they legitimately won their conference, or in this case, were the premier team of the group of 5. So, yeah, that's all good. The Aztecs, they should be getting more love in our community. There's a ton of support for college football in this community. They just don't show up, and it doesn't make sense to me. And I wonder if the more we harp about no one showing up, does that reinforce the reason that people don't show up?
Okay. Somebody who's an Aztec alum, put a star next to your name when you sign in, and just explain to us why Aztec fans aren't supporting the team. I mean, I told you, I put Sean Lewis on the spot at his Monday press conference. I was the one that asked the question. And he said, we did our job, we're 10-2. He did not infer that you have not done your job, but he said, we've done our job at finished 10-2, which I hope they will, against New Mexico. Okay, John, next one.
Yeah, that New Mexico game isn't going to be a cupcake. Okay, let's go here to Matt. Thank you, Matt. Hey, I've told you for months the Clips are in trouble.
I really hoped that the help that these veterans, these one-year rentals would give them would put them over the top. And none of these guys are playing. I mean, it's absolutely shocking. Nobody's contributing. Chris Paul's averaging 2 points a game and hardly getting any minutes at all. And John Collins, from a statistics standpoint, totally disappeared. And this guy was a go-to forward in Utah and before that in Atlanta. And Brook Lopez is not getting a lot of minutes. He was supposed to be equal time with Zubac. That has not happened. And Batum is a mystery. He's supposed to be a three-point shooter. He's been there for a while. And Bogdanovich, he's had injury problems. But they got 5 guys collectively that are key components of this roster coming off the bench, not contributing.
That's weird. Like I said, I think Ballmer's getting ripped off here. So, and you were even saying that Chris Paul announced he's going to retire at the end of the season, right? So it's like a lame duck year for him, too. I mean, so, is there going to be a swan song goodbye to Chris Paul? Probably not. He's just going to evaporate at the end of the season, probably get hurt and, finish the year on the injured list.
Yeah, they got problems. They really do. They're 5-12, and it's not, I don't think it's Tyronn Lue's fault. It's just the fact they just don't have enough people.
Tyronn Lue. All right, let's go here to Casey. Hey, guys, how about my Rams? Says they were great on both sides of the football and love that interception by Jacoby Durant.
They got so many athletes. And those guys on defense, I mean, the look in their eyes, like, John, we're coming to get your quarterback. What the hell are you going to do about it? I mean, they play with their hair on fire. What a collection of people Les Snead and Sean McVay have stockpiled on the defensive side of the football. And they got a young linebacker that just dominant. It's just everywhere making plays. And it was just like a later round draft pick. So really good team. And Matthew Stafford, 30 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. My goodness. Next sentence out of anybody's mouth from the national media ought to be Matthew Stafford -MVP candidate.
Oh, yeah. He's just having a hell of a run. And I saw, a piece about him, and they reminded me that he's like friends with Clayton Kershaw.
Sure.
So, I mean, what about a dynamic duo there? But did you see the post-game interview with Davante Adams? I mean, he was just beaming. It's like, oh, this is a great organization, and I got my guy quarterback throwing me the ball, and I got the head coach, and he knows the right scheme, the right play at the right time. I mean, he's finally landed in paradise after being exiled from Aaron Rodgers.
A.K.A. being in Raiderville.
Yeah, that wasn't any good.
No, not at all. So, I mean, this is his last go-round. He's got a lot of miles on him as a veteran receiver. But, boy, they got every component offensively you'd want. Offensive line has stayed free of injuries for the most part. Stafford has stayed upright. They do power the ball with Kyron Williams. They got Blake Corum as their third down back, the little guy from Michigan. I mean, what Puka Nacua has done, you can't cover him. And then you add in Devontae. Now they just got Tutu Atwell back today. They took him off injured reserve. Their tight ends are very competitive. I mean, they've got every component. Very good team.
You know the whole depth chart. I love it. Okay, here's a couple of quick hits from our friends up in Winnipeg. From Kenny's Water Bottle. Hello from Winnipeg. Schickster says, go Jets, go. Winnipeg, no, not that stupid NFL. And Derek says, yeah, go Jets, go. Yay, oh Canada Network. Twimby here says, hey, Schickster, that's good because those Jets ain't going nowheres. What do you think about the Winnipeg Jets, Lee?
Pretty good team. Very deep. A lot of different goal scoring. Don't like the fact that Hellebuck got hurt, but it's a really good hockey team. Western Conference is pretty doggone tough.
Oh, hell yeah.
At the same time. We started this thing. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, and I didn't think John really knew this. I do NFL, what we call NFL Notebook segments every week on all sports stations or podcasts in Toronto, Winnipeg, Edmonton, and occasionally the guys from Montreal will call, or guys from Vancouver. And I do stuff with the Canadian guys. So I came up with this O Canada Network. So that's where that all came from. So to my guys in Winnipeg, I'm down here, but I know you're up there. I want you to have a 1919 on me. 1919 is their favorite beer. That's what the Winnipeg fans drink there.
Right on.
And again, I spent time in Winnipeg. A lot of people don't know this. I broadcast hockey. I was in the World Hockey Association. So we'll go through Winnipeg. Damn wind. Portage in Maine. Coldest street corner in North America in downtown Winnipeg.
Listen to you, man. Like, I'm one of you, Canada.
I am.
You know, and yeah, I remember you always told me about, like, when the Hello Canada, or excuse me, O Canada, the national anthem, the guy in the stands would sing that with.
In Edmonton.
That was in Edmonton. I mean, so you turned me on to that whole thing. So yeah, you've got some Canadian in you. You've got family up in Nova Scotia, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. See, you're legit.
I'm one of you, more or less.
Okay. All right, let's go to Callan. Afternoon, gents. I'm about to head out to Snapdragon for San Diego FC against Minnesota United. Looking forward to a rowdy crowd and an electric atmosphere. Vamos, SDFC.
I'll tell you, I wish it was on TV. I wish it was on local TV. It's on Apple.
Yeah.
I wish it was on local TV. Could you imagine? I mean, San Diego fans like events. San Diego would love to watch this on television. I wish there's a way it could be televised locally on one of our local affiliates.
Well, they changed the deal, the TV deal.
Yeah, they're getting rid of that specialty channel.
Right. So basically, you have an Apple TV subscription, and then you had to buy a special MLS pass that was like $90 for the season. And so I bought that just so I can watch the games. But next year, you're not going to need that extra $90 subscription.
Right.
Just the baseline Apple TV will get it done for you, which is good. So, it is interesting because KUSI made the commitment to televise San Diego State games.
They picked up some non-conference games.
So,
yes.
with MLS and that deal with Apple, they probably have an exclusive deal, right? That's my guess.
I wish it was on TV. The soccer fans will be there. The 32,000 wearing the colors with the flags and the hats and the sombreros.
Azul and chrome.
They'll be there. But to expose a championship playoff game to the mass who might not have followed the team very much or doesn't follow MLS or maybe doesn't really get exposed to soccer, my God, could that help them market the sport? Soccer's gone crazy here. We've got, obviously, SDFC. We got the Wave, the women's team, which has won in the past. USD went to the NCAAs last year. Unfortunately, just got knocked out in the first round of their game on Sunday night here when they lost to Grand Canyon. Here's the weird part of that. So the NCAA playoffs just began in soccer, men's soccer, and USD was 13th in the country. Anyhow, they lost a tough game. Number 1, Vermont got knocked out in the first round. Number 2, number 3, number 5.
Wow.
All these national names, Virginia, Princeton, I forget who the others were, but plus Vermont, the defending champion, all got eliminated in the first round of the playoffs on Sunday.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I know Mark Ziegler was saying how the NCAA tournament for soccer is like the last bastion of where the little guy has a chance to win. So it's tough seeing, some of those teams go down. But, USD, you got to give credit. I mean, their baseball program has been very good over the years. They've had moments in basketball. So, that's a solid university, too.
Brian Quinn's done a great job there. The former San Diego soccer star has been there. Kind of works in the spotlight from Northern Ireland. He's done
Yeah, the San Diego Sockers, right?
Yeah, way back. Great coach. Great personality. So, but maybe we just start to call this place Soccer City.
The voters said no, but the name still rings true.
Okay, good to hear from you, Callum. Enjoy the game.
Okay, there's a bunch of happy Thanksgiving messages. This one's from John. Happy Thanksgiving, Lee and John. Thankful that not only are you guys streaming out from Baja to the Canadian Rockies, you're streaming the East Coast too, from Miami to the Outer Banks and up to Newfoundland.
All righty. John was here for a long time in the military, is retired back there in and around the Washington, D.C. area. He's been a follower for a long time. Happy holidays to you, John. Okay, move on.
Well, you're one of those. It's Newfoundland? Newfoundland.
Right.
Not Newfoundland.
It's one of the trips, international trips, that's still on my bucket list to go. I want to go. This sounds stupid. I want to go to Labrador and Newfoundland. I've been everywhere in Canada. Mm-hmm. You know, from Quebec all the way to Vancouver and up through the western provinces. I was supposed to go to Newfoundland and Labrador, but COVID started, and we had to put that trip on the back burner. I have not gotten there. I want to go there one time. It's like coastal New England squared.
Cool. I mean, that sounds really great.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if we could do a podcast from Newfoundland, but anything's possible.
Well, we've done it, multiple times, so we got to make that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. We'll go here to Carlos. Hey, LA Rams, number 1 seed in the NFC as of today. Wouldn't that be awesome for the LA to win the Super Bowl on San Francisco's home field? Go Lakers.
Well, LA is playing really well, and we got, 5 weeks left? Got to keep the rest of the roster healthy, keep that quarterback standing. But this has been a spectacular story. I thought they were really good when the season started, but again, you have to prove it, and you got to not have any catastrophic injuries, and so far, so good. Knock on wood, but McVay's done a phenomenal job. And Matthew Stafford is such a gamer, such a winner. I'd love to see him in a Super Bowl, to have that opportunity again.
Well, going back to the Stafford-Kershaw thing, I mean, Kershaw just won the World Series. Yep. Imagine if his buddy Stafford won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I mean, that could legitimately happen. And both of those guys, by the way, they have the beard and with a lot of gray, kind of coming in. You could tell they're like same age, same kind of style, the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, Matthew Stafford's 37. He's playing like he's 27.
That's what they were saying on TV. He's playing like when he was really young because he's so sharp, so athletic, knows all the right buttons to push. I mean, what a thrill. I mean, and the Rams, man, when did they win the Super Bowl? That was like 3-4 years ago?
Yeah.
So I'm surprised they haven't made it back already, but no, they're loaded this year.
Well, injuries have an awful lot to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we'll see where it goes. Playoffs going to be tough. Now, can you tell me outside of Philadelphia and Detroit, can you tell me anybody else that scares you in the NFC?
No. I mean, maybe Seattle, on a good day. They're pretty good. But, Tampa's in first place in their division. They're like 6-5, so it's still the AFC teams, I think, are the more elite. Don't you think? Well, maybe not.
The Rams are pretty damn elite right now.
I mean, the NFC probably has a few strong teams, but maybe they're at the top of the list.
Okay, we move on. Thank you.
Okay, let's go here to is this Amrokade? Hello, Lee and John. Do the Dodgers need to add a significant bat this offseason? Betts has been the worst hitter than ever, worse than even Tatis for 1.5 years now. Dodger pitching carry, but offense was average in the playoffs.
Well, they got an age problem. You look at that roster, there are 6 of their cornerstone players are all 33 and plus. More like 35, 36, 37. So they're going to have to get younger. Now, they do have a wealth of pretty good young pitching coming still in the system. Got to get a bat. Is that bat Kwan from Cleveland? Because those trade rumors are still out there, and something's going to happen. I mean, winter baseball meetings are the first week of December. So we'll see if the Dodgers make a transaction prior to that or at the winter meetings. There's been rumblings, Bellinger. Now, I find it hard to believe that they would do business with Scott Boras and Bellinger again because they had Bellinger before and they got stung by the left fielder Conforto, who's a Bellinger client or was a Boras client last year. That was a real bad deal. So I don't know if they want to go back and get Cody Bellinger and then again at what price. Bellinger could really help them in the outfield. So I think there's going to be 2 acquisitions. There'll be somebody for left field. I don't know if it's a free agent or it's Stephen Kwan in a trade, and there'll be a closer. Now, is that Edwin Diaz, who's asking for a 5-year deal? Is it Robert Suarez at age 35 that might take a 3-year deal? Would it be Peter Fairbanks, who came from Tampa, had injuries, got healthy because he was there when Andrew Friedman's the one that put him in Tampa Bay. So the Dodgers are going to be active.
You talk about Bellinger. Isn't it interesting how when players become free agents or get traded somewhere else and then they come back to the original team? I mean,
it doesn't happen very often, I don't think.
It doesn't, because I think from a marketing perspective and even from a player development perspective, they've sort of turned the page on that guy. They're not going to bring him back.
Well, he had so many bad years wrapped around one really good season.
Yeah, with L.A. for sure. Yeah. I mean, he was lightning that one great year. So I don't know. I don't see Bellinger coming back just because of that, boomerang effect. Doesn't happen all that often.
Unless he winds up in the Angels outfield, in which they really need him. But then to me, if that happens, that's strictly, I want your money. That's why this deal would send him to the Halos, because the Halos are not going to compete. Now, if they get Bellinger gets his price. But his price is probably high because he's represented by Scott Boras.
And is he going to hit 190 and make all that money?
You hope not.
Yeah, I mean, he was looking really bad with the Dodgers before he exited the team.
He went to Wrigley Field and he had a pretty decent season. Then he opted out and he wound up going to the Yankees and had a really good season. And I'm kind of surprised he didn't want to stay with the Yankees. I mean, it's the number 1 market in the country. Why would you not want to do that?
Well, I think he's going to go where he's going to get paid. Mm-hmm. And you can't blame him for that. Here's some more Dodger talk. This is from Sam. Hey, personally, more defense and a high-leverage pitcher more than a bat. Quan trade would be sweet.
Well, they've got everything that Cleveland would want. They got multiples of pitching. They've got at least one good young Double-A outfielder, though the Dodgers historically don't trade their prime prospects. And John and I, we've done this podcast for 3 years in a row. And once we get through the trade deadline at the winter meetings, we look at each other and I say, John, can you believe they did this? And they got this acquisition, and they didn't give up any of their cornerstone guys in the organization. Right. I've said that every January.
Yeah. I mean, Friedman does a great job. I mean, the Quan deal, though, people are comparing him to like a tennis racket hitter. Just a guy that sort of swats at the ball.
He's got a little pop, though. Lifetime 281 hitter, but he's got like 120 home runs.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, who are the guys? I mean, do you think they would trade like a Bobby Miller, a River Ryan?
I think they'd trade one of those stud pitchers in the system and probably have to give up one of the Double-A outfielders. They got 3 Double-A outfielders there, DePaula, Hope, and there's another one, or Dalton Rushing maybe. So it might be a 2-for-1 transaction.
But Rushing is like the stud young guy, right?
But dude hit 190.
Yeah. And how old's Will Smith? I mean, is he up there too?
He's 30s, 31 maybe.
Okay. But that's the thing with Rushing. I mean, because he's a catcher, right?
Yes.
So I don't know. Maybe they'll deal him for that purpose.
Okay, stay with us because we're baseball centric on this podcast. We'll continue to cover every rumor for you. Thank you. Go ahead.
All right, let's go here to Neil. This is a 2-parter. Didn't the Aztecs promise not to raise fees? Have to admit, I'm not shocked it's turned out this way.
Well, I don't know about a promise not to raise fees. I mean, their ticket prices for Aztec football have really, are just outrageously high. And I think that's the base of the entire problem at San Diego State. But these are student fees that are part of everything else that a student going to San Diego State has to pay. And those fees have been locked in place since 2009. You tell me anything else in society that's still the same price as it was in 2009. So why would you not crank it up? And now they're saying we're going to take the big increase and would all go to athletics. This $11 million deficit that's a problem point because the Snapdragon deficit is a separate entity thing on the books. That's $25 million. So they've got a significant money thing.
Well, plus, I mean, the NIL money is coming from
private donors.
But there's no regular operating funds from the athletic department that are paying for these NIL deals?
Well, they pay scholarships and stuff. Yeah, there are.
Yeah, because I would imagine in other programs, there's probably a lot of money that is kind of coming through the university as opposed to outside private dollars.
Well, I think it's all structured the same. You know, they're trying to raise $4 million for football. And they have a secret donor who's come in and pledged them $1 million, and he will match another $1 million if they can raise that $1 million from people like you, me, and other alumni.
Yeah, good for that guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So,
you remember there was a time, though, that people were wondering if the Aztec football program was going to survive. You know,
well, it's back in the 70s before I got here. But yeah, I mean, there's an athletic director said maybe, or there's a president said maybe we should just do away with football.
Well, they're committed now with the stadium, so hopefully they'll figure this thing out. I mean, Sean Lewis is doing what he needs to do. We got some more Aztec commentary. Again, this is a two-parter. This is from Michael. It says, Hacksaw, I'm having a Michigan-San Diego State watch party. All my family are coming from Detroit that went to Michigan. Any chance you could use your Hacksaw magic wand to help San Diego State win? Must be nice to buy a team. And then he goes on to say, Aztec for life. I attended those games in the 80s. I support the program through my conversation.
Well, that's good. If you can support it a little bit financially, that would help too. And what can I do on behalf of San Diego State tonight against the University of Michigan? Maybe just give them a blessing and hope it works, but it's going to be hard. The question is, you know, don't get blown out by 40 because that sends a real bad national message. And San Diego State's good, and they're going to be better. But the next 2 weeks are really going to be hard. I mean, you go from Michigan to Oregon, plus you play a third game in that tournament against a ranked team, and you still got Arizona coming up. So,
well, remember last year they were in this tournament and they beat Houston.
Yes.
You know, so they could have that kind of a moment with Michigan. You beat a top 10 team. I mean, that puts you right on the map. You know, so they have the potential to do it. You know, just have they corrected some of the flaws. And by the way they got exposed by Troy, you know, they're playing a very different team now in Michigan, you know, with all these big dudes down low. So, I mean, Dusher knows how to teach defense and rebounding, so here we go.
Well, his term, he told me, street fight.
Yeah, there you go.
Because of the size of all the Michigan guys. It'll be a great game. We'll see what happens.
Okay, again, some great Thanksgiving shout-outs. Thank you to all of you for all of these notes. From HB949, hello, Lee and John. Happy Thanksgiving. Derek says, happy Thanksgiving to all my American friends. And then we get from Arnie, happy Thanksgiving to Saw and John.
By the way, he likes an extra piece of pumpkin pie.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been in this house during the holiday, I know.
All right, and then Mike says here, he goes, show me your lightning bolt. Okay, let's keep on going down the list, and I'm trying to get everybody in here at least once if I can. And here, let's go here. Here we go. F1 fan here. This is from Digital Al, and he says, hey, Lee, this drama is crazy. Max will take the crown, but the team Papaya is on the ropes. What is Zach Brown doing?
I'll tell you what's happened with that Lando Norris team is kind of amazing. Piastri had a strong back half last season where you thought, oh, this is a budding star on the come. And he came out of the gate this year, and he's won 7 races, but virtually all of them were the first half of the year. He's done nothing. He can't stay on the track to earn points. Crashes, car breaks down, etc., not qualifying, not running well. So what's happened to Norris and Piastri's team has really been bizarre. And then Verstappen went through a dry spell, and he had a lot of bad luck, and he was pissing and moaning all the time about his crew and the setup and all that. They got the sucker dialed in, and he races, John. I mean, if you watch him, he races on the edge every second he's out there, and he stays out of trouble. He's not caused a lot of wrecks. You know, Lando Norris and Piastri have knocked each other out of races. I mean, it's been crazy what the team has had to deal with. So, I mean, he's only 24 points back. You know, I think there's a total 33 points that are available for each race. And the amount of money that's available, you win the points championship. I mean, the payday is, I don't know what it is, $9 million or something in money. If you win the points championship for your team, holy cow, so much money that's on the line.
Well, how many people are on their team? I mean, it's got to be.
The investment's massive.
Yeah, it's got to be. You know, so you ever notice that with F1, they have those post race where they all kind of go into that little room and they watch the race highlights. And I saw them after the Vegas Grand Prix where they were being interviewed, and they're like friends, Verstappen and Norris and Piastri, or at least they're friendly in those interviews. But I'm surprised they're not at each other's throats personally, since it's such like they're on the edge of a knife the way they're racing.
And they're very emotional. I mean, that sport is as volatile from an emotional standpoint as soccer is. I mean, now I do a lot. I follow the English Premier League a lot, and there's a lot of people that are emotionally up and down all the time. I love you. You don't love me. And F1's drivers are the same thing, too. I mean, the stuff that comes out of their mouths in the post-race press conferences is wow. Ferrari's got its hands full dealing with their two guys because Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton are so angry at what's happened to their team this season, and they're taking it out on everybody. So.
Yeah, you got to handle that better. I mean, it's one thing to say, I suck. All right. If you've had a bad night.
But they say you suck, and they say it on the headsets during the race where the national media can hear all this stuff.
Yeah, that's just wrong, because you're throwing your people under the bus. Yeah. They're getting paid, they want to win, they're competitive, but you got to handle that properly.
Okay. F1 fan, thanks for joining us. Hope you stay on this podcast all the time. Go ahead, John.
All right, let's go here back to Derek. He goes, Jofa, which we're talking about that mouth guard in hockey, Jofa is a manufacturer. They made that useless plastic shell Gretzky used to wear. I do remember Gretzky wearing those, because I remember I used to wear those when I used to race bicycle motocross, back in the late 70s, early 80s.
That's when you were stupid.
Yeah, when I was stupid. But you'll see motorcycle motocross as well. Like some of them will wear those back in the day before they've had those full face helmets. Right. They're helpful, but you don't want to get hit in the mouth with a puck.
And a lot of that stuff is just accidental. I mean, there's so much stuff with people in front of the net and sticks, and guys get hit with pucks. And it's just the throat guard thing is the thing that I think the NHL really needs to make that mandatory. Because, we had the terrible death of the pro hockey player, the New York Islander guy that went to England and died 2 years ago. Terrible story.
Yeah. It's brutal.
Yep.
Okay, let's get some social media in here. And we're going to go to L Hotshot Towers talking Dodgers. About time you say some truth. All season you hated on them.
Not all season. I talked about whatever the hot topic was, whatever week it was. When they were in an epidemic thing because all their pitchers had elbow surgeries, we have to talk about that. You view that as hate. I talk about dealing with reality. But when their young pitchers come up, and my God, look at what the Landon Knack gave them or what Bobby Miller did early on, we talk about that too. I don't hate on anybody. I just present the information that's available that day. And the first week of May might be different than the story the third week of June, and obviously really different at the end of the season. So
this is awesome, because L Hotshot is an Instagram handle, and Instagram is your Hacksaw commentary videos on Instagram just get lit up when you talk Dodgers, and Dodger fans are all in there giving you crap or saying, "Oh, you're finally coming around," telling us that you like us. Everyone wants you to be a fan of the Dodgers.
I'm a fan of the sport, but I cover the stories the way they should be covered.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's go here. This is timely. This is about Lane Kiffin. This is from Word Nerd. He goes, hey, didn't mention that 1 year at Tennessee, where he did a really good job before dropping Tennessee without notice like a sack of lead to take over at SoCal. I would probably hire him. However, I wouldn't give him a lifetime contract for more than Kirby's making. That is exactly what Florida and LSU are preparing to do.
Well, this was their bye week at Ole Miss, and he spent the weekend in Gainesville meeting with the people at Florida and then to Baton Rouge to meet LSU. I was told that the Florida package could be as high as a total of $90 million package. Now, that might be 10 years, whatever. Great coach. Maybe he's a better coach now and a better recruiter now than he was at USC, because I was kind of really disappointed at Southern Cal. But at the end of the day, what he did at Mississippi is pretty impressive, because that's a tough place to recruit to. There's not a ton of Ole Miss football tradition, but it is the flagship school in the state. And they do love Rebels football. He's done a great job, and obviously he's got boosters, et cetera. So I think he's gone. They're going to announce after the Egg Bowl game this weekend, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. I would assume he will announce he's exiting, and he's done a good job there.
What about Lane Kiffin to the New York Giants? Do you think something like that could happen?
He's been in and out of the NFL. I mean, he was with the Raiders, and Al Davis fired him. I don't think so. I think he's a college guy.
Now, what's the deal, Egg Bowl? Do you know the history behind that? Why is it called the Egg Bowl?
Well, I think farming is huge in Mississippi.
Okay.
Cotton farming, and I think poultry farming, meat farming. So that's probably the history of Ole Miss, Mississippi State. You're the one that's got the smartphone. Look that stuff up, brother.
I just want to figure you know a lot.
I know everything about everything.
Yeah, well, this is one I'm trying to stump you. Okay, and then when you think of Ole Miss football, I mean, you think of Eli Manning, but what are the other names? I mean, did Archie Manning go there too, or was he an LSU guy?
No, where did he go? Oh man, you asked me too quickly.
I know everything.
I do. Sometimes it's not available.
Okay.
Information overload. Ole Miss has had some individual good players. They are the flagship. Mississippi State has always been a runner-up. Southern Mississippi's even farther back than them, and that's where Brett Favre came from. So, boy, yes, I don't know. I can't remember where Archie Manning went. I don't think it was Ole Miss. Might have been LSU.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't. For some reason, I thought it was Ole Miss. Okay, let's go here. Let's talk UCLA football. This is from Flash Bainey. Talking about the UCLA is a mess. He goes, make that 3-8. Nice game, losing 48-14. Any chance they could go back to the Pac-12?
No. I mean, they desperately did this for money to get to the Big Ten. They have this massive debt in their athletic department. So, no, this is a financial move. Hasn't been received very well from UCLA alums and donors. They need to win. I mean, now they're winning in basketball, but they need to win in football. They need to draw in football, and their crowds at the Rose Bowl are just pathetic. So whoever comes in the front door, it's got to be a really good hire with a lot of energy who's going to bring oomph to their national recruiting.
Now, you were saying Rick Neuheisel to Oregon State, maybe?
Yeah, that rumor just surfed.
I mean, why would he come back to UCLA? Did he have a good run there?
No. Well, he'd been at Colorado, had been at the University of Washington, was at UCLA. He did okay, but he wasn't dominant. He got let go at all those places. So I heard that. I said, really? But again, Oregon State's been a have-not. Oregon State's looking for a real true leader to put them back on the Pac-12 national map. I mean, they fixed that program a bunch of times over the decades upon decades. Tommy Prothro was there, was very good. Mike Riley brought it out of, rescued it. Dennis Erickson reinvented it. So, I mean, it can be done. It's a real hard place. And Washington State's even harder because it's tough to recruit into there. But Oregon State's always been a have-not in what was the old Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12. And at this point, they got to find the right guy.
Remember Achilles Smith?
Sure.
That was a name from Oregon State, huh?
We went to Oregon.
He went to Oregon?
Oregon. Didn't pan out.
There was a really high draft pick that came out of Oregon State like 15, 20 years ago.
Well, the greatest player of all time, this goes way back, Terry Baker, left-handed quarterback, but that goes way back. I've seen a few more third downs in life than you have.
But back to UCLA, I mean, what are some names that you'd like to see lead that program?
It's really been quiet. At one point, I think the Dan Mullen, who had resurrected UNLV, was a hot guy, but his name has kind of cooled a little bit. There's so many good guys out there. I mean, there are named coaches out there that should be able to go get somebody and bring them in.
Belichick.
No.
Okay, let's keep moving. We got some Raiders here with this guy, the Speed Demon. He goes, Al Davis motto, just win, baby. Mark Davis motto, just lose, baby.
Just what I told John at the onset of the show. The one constant in all things in Las Vegas with the Raiders is Mark Davis. They can't win. I am shocked that they've not had a bigger impact from Pete Carroll. And again, they laid a lot of money in draft picks to get Geno Smith out of Seattle, and it's just kind of blown up in their face. A lot of injuries, but everybody in the league's got injury problems. I still think there's potential there, but they got to fix the offensive line. They got to fix secondary. Is terrible. And obviously, Chip Kelly was not the right guy offensively because they fired him and fired the consultant right after they fired Chip Kelly last night at 11 p.m. So, long road back. Boy, the roster needs a lot of retrenching. And they lost a whole number of defensive starters at linebacker and in the secondary right after Pete Carroll got hired. Those guys were free agents, and they didn't get them re-signed, and they went all these other places. And to me, that's been catastrophic because now what they were doing was they're bringing in all these street free agents that had crossed paths with Pete Carroll, putting them on the field, and they just haven't played very well. So, but they've got a massive problem in player personnel, and then they start losing guys in the offensive front. So it's tough.
Pick up the phone, call Lester Hayes and Mike Haynes.
Yeah.
We need some cornerbacks.
And they need a lot of help in a lot of different player directions. I had an NFL personnel guy tell me last week, this Raider roster right now is worse than the Raider roster they had a year ago. And
really?
That coaching staff got themselves fired last year. So tough time. Raider Nation.
Did you see the video clip on the sidelines that Max Crosby was getting into it with one of his teammates?
I feel bad for him. I mean, he's such a gamer.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes at it all the time, and he can't do it by himself.
No. I mean, these guys want to win.
Yeah.
So they play in that great stadium. Okay, let's talk some Aztecs and some of the prices here from Lee Cato.
Yeah.
Hey, you're blaming the wrong people. Blame the administration. They've had years to get this right, yet they keep ignoring the fans when we voice why the stadium can't draw. The tickets are too much. More than $100 for a nosebleed for a Mountain West Conference game? F that. Parking is $35. It costs $15 to park for a Nebraska game. They don't have attendance issues. Concessions are a ripoff. Fans want to tailgate.
I concur. And they charge you to tailgate, too. This whole thing was a money grab. The ideology, I firmly believe, was, well, the Chargers have left. We are the football team in town. We can charge these prices because it's a shiny new stadium. But the fans aren't buying it. And the students aren't coming. The students get free tickets, and they're not coming. It's such a disadvantage. I think it's been so mishandled. I mean, if I were king, I would go in there and I would cut all the prices. I'd charge $40 for top ticket, and I'd charge $20 for the rest of the seats, and I'd cut that damn parking from $40 to $50 down to $10 and cut the concessions. I'd rather have $32,000 at my prices than have $15,000 at their prices, and a bunch of those are ticket giveaways. That's the only way you're going to solve it. And you got to win. But as Sean Lewis said today, we've done our job. We go 10-2. We did our job. It's up to the fans to do their jobs, but it's got to be at reasonable prices.
Listen to you telling other people how to spend their money.
Damn right. You asked. Yeah, I answered.
By the way, the parking ain't $35. It's $55. I saw the sign. So it's $55 to park there. It's a lot. I mean, It really is. But, Wicker, he's got bills to pay, and he's got that debt that they're
running up in the athletic department.
Yeah, they're bleeding money.
Plus the Snapdragon issue.
Yeah, do you think, because, Title IX, obviously, that creates an additional financial challenge to get everything to fit in the budget. Would the Aztecs ever drop other sports?
I would hope not, because I think as a true Division I team, I think there's a number you have to have. I think you might have to have 18 intercollegiate sports, and they have to be balanced, men and women. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they'd be cutting any program. I don't think they want to cut any programs. Thing is, they got to win and got to make more money. Basketball's done its job. Maybe, football, if they get to a decent bowl game, or if San Diego State were to win the new Pac-12 next year, and they might have the best team going in to the Pac-12 venture next season, because they're better than most everybody that's joining them, better than Fresno and all these other schools that are going with them into the Pac-12, and obviously better than Oregon State, and maybe really equal or better than Washington State. If they're a number one team, that puts them in the college football playoffs. That's a $4 million payday just to begin.
Yeah, it is.
So,
but, even when they were giving away tickets, they weren't filling up the stadium. No. So it's just there's a mental block that people have to not want to go to those games. I mean, Petco is packed. SDFC is packed. The Wave draws big crowds. Mm-hmm. What's the deal? This doesn't make any sense that the Aztecs can't draw. I mean, they're winning.
Well, as Lucato said, prices are way too steep.
Too steep.
For that product, that level of competition, that conference that nobody identifies with. Now, I happen to like the Mountain West, and I've traveled the Mountain West. I did Aztec games a number of different times, so I'm just absolutely stunned because what Sean Lewis has done here has been really impressive.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's fulfilling his job description.
And it's really weird because on the other hill, USD just finished their season at 8-4. Brandon Moore's done a really good job, making Torero football good again. Nobody goes to their games. Nobody. But it's almost like a club sport.
Yeah, it is.
And they're in a conference at Pioneer Conference with the University of Dayton and Presbyterian in South Carolina. That's a weird conference. I wish USD would go 1AA. If they played the Big Sky Conference against Montana State, Idaho State, you could identify with that conference, but that means scholarships. And 1AA scholarship number is, I think, 60.
Well, isn't Montana State going into the Mountain West? Or there was talk about that, wasn't
they're not going in. Hawaii, UTEP, and those guys are going in.
Well, you just think about what USD's budget for sports must be because they're not making any money at the turnstile for these games, and they've got to send 60, 80, 90 kids to these games, and they got to put them all on a plane and put them up. That's expensive.
I concur with you. So we'll see where it goes. Aztec football, to me, has been pretty impressive. And although we don't talk about it often and they don't hardly get any ink at all, USD, what Brandon Moore has done in 2 years at USD with transfers is, to go 8-4, and that conference is kind of cool. They just missed going to the 1AA playoffs by one game. So, okay, listen, we hope you have enjoyed this podcast. Just a program note, we're off on Thanksgiving because of travel issues. We won't have a podcast at the end of the week, but we'll be back Monday at 1:30. Just a reminder, I write about sports every day. It's on my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Check it. You give me 5 minutes in the morning, I'll give you every sports story there is. I think you'll like it. Want you to share, want you to subscribe. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays. Subscribe because then you will get the alert every time we put new things up on the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up, hit the follow button, give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us immensely. We appreciate all you fans. We've been on this for 3 years. The numbers that we've built in terms of followers and on social media is just staggering. It's all John's fault. He's the one that created this whole podcast. But happy Thanksgiving to you. John, I know you'll be on the road. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you come Monday. You will enjoy turkey, pumpkin pie, and we'll see you back here Monday at 1:30.
Back here Monday. Looking forward to it, Lee.
Happy holiday.
You too.
And happy holiday to you. Thanks as always for being with us on Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast app.
Touchdown, San Diego!
For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.